Hello Gingerhill, I am Cedar Ward and welcome to my video interview. I am going to start this off with saying that I have tried to make this video for the last 2 days. I don't know what it is about me speaking directly to a camera. I cannot do it. My heart is going out to all the YouTubers and the content creators right now because that life was never meant for me, and I am realizing, wow, it is an art. It is an art to speak to yourself in a camera. So I almost wish this was an in-person interview because I kind of think I would articulate myself better. But I have all the questions written down, and I have a little bit of some answers to go with each one just in case I go way off script and I need to rein her back in. So if you see me looking down, I apologize, but I swear it is for the greater good. Okay, let's jump into this. Tell us about yourself. So I just recently graduated from the University of Oregon. I majored in environmental studies and I got further concentration in environmental humanities, environmental social science, public policy management, and sustainable design. So instead of choosing one concentration, I chose all four, because why not? I also minored in art. I have been really creative from a very young age. I have dabbled in quite a few mediums. I started with painting, acrylic, oil. I've done drawing. I love charcoal. I have done mixed media work. I love collages. It's gonna keep going. I've done pottery. I've done ceramics. I've done sculpting. I've done photography. I love fashion. I have a sewing machine, so I sew. I love fashion design. I love thrift flips. I've done jewelry making. I have actually melted sand down with a torch to make glass. So that was a really cool experience. I did that in high school. I've done metal art again in high school with manufacturing, which we're gonna get into that as well. My apologies, iPad started heating in the sun, so now I got it in the shade. I should be blocking it. So let's continue. I took manufacturing for 5 years, so as I did the metal art, that was also in the shop. There I learned how to operate a lathe, a drill press, all sorts of welding, gas metal arc welding, oxyacetylene welding, stick welding. I can do 6 to 10, 7 to 18. I can do all sorts of rods. I competed in those. I have the basics of TIG down. That was when I was graduating. Unfortunately, I was a senior starting to learn that. I've done plasma cutting. I have done oxyacetylene cutting. I have done 3D printing. I've done AutoCAD. I've done CNC cutting, machining, and done metal art with that. I cut out some deers out of metal with that and spray painted them, and that was beautiful. I gave that as a gift to my father. As I said, competed in welding, so I ended up being the Oregon State Champion in gas metal arc welding at the very end of COVID, actually. And I also competed on an all-girls fabrication team throughout high school, and we had to make coffee tables and stuff for competitions, so that was pretty nifty, pretty fun. I've also done some carpentry. I loved being able to merge practical blue-collar skills with creative and art and be able to make really cool stuff, so that was fun. I live on a farm back home. I don't know if you can tell from the surrounding behind me. Sorry, the sun's letting back in, but it's very green here. It's beautiful. I grew up on the Oregon coast, really super small town. My dad's Native American. He's from the Quapaw tribe, and my mom is full German, but she's a major hippie, so my childhood was pretty much running around in the woods, mushroom foraging. We were hunting, we were camping. We have a whole bunch of animals. We have chickens, goats, cows, geese at one point. I did horseback riding because I live very rurally. It's 30 minutes to get into town. Yeah, berry picking. So I lived a very outdoorsy life. If you were going to ask me what I wanted to do now, it would be that I want to travel. All I want to do is just see and understand the world. I had the privilege of living and studying in Italy for 3 months, and while I was there, every single weekend I hopped on a plane and was able to visit 10 other countries while I was there. So that blew my mind as a little country bumpkin who had never had a passport before, had never left the mainland, it was, what an experience. What am I currently looking for in a job? I currently am looking for a job that not only grows my hard skills, but grows my soft skills as well. As we can see, I love learning new technical skills, more practical skills, but to have a work environment that also supports the soft skills, the good communication, the empathy, the ability to adapt, the things that actually make you a good person in and of yourself. I would love to be in an environment that also fosters soft skills as well and really cares about soft skills. Yeah. Question 3. What interests me most about the job? Well, it's kind of like the perfect fusion of my last 2 jobs I had as a farming intern and as a custodian for LTD. I loved not being in customer service for the first time and being trusted, independent, allowed to get my tasks done without having someone constantly over my shoulder, you know, having a little space before. And as long as I got my tasks done by the end of the day and they were completed efficiently, we were good. So that was just such a stress reliever for me that I haven't had in a professional work environment yet, that made the worlds of difference for me. The only thing I missed in comparison to my farming job is that I wasn't outside. And that's why this position really jumped out to me. And I was like, oh, this is up my alley, because I wasn't lying when I told you guys on the email that this was like a housekeeper's dream. You know, just even being able to, while being in between cleaning vacation rentals, being able to just step outside and paradise, just have Mother Nature just constantly around you, that heals. It kind of combines all the 3 things that I want right now as a young 22-year-old who just graduated college. The traveling, the experience, and the opportunity to learn about a different culture is what draws me to this position. Yeah. Well, okay, next up. When can I start? You tell me to jump and I will jump on a plane. What the paper said. You give me a date and I will buy a plane ticket, okay? That's where I'm at. I am a free woman right now. Take up my time. What was the environment of my last job? Well, like I kind of touched on, one was a 2.5 acre small farm with the goal of reducing food insecurity in Lane County. And the participants and the volunteers at the farm would come from such various walks of life. Some were living in a halfway house and had to do volunteer work. Others were serving, doing hours to take time off their sentence. Others were college kids, interns like me. Others were school kids who were coming to learn about composting and mulching and different processes in the garden. So really, really cool experience. And I got the privilege of talking to and seeing life and stepping into shoes of a very diverse group of people. And I'm so grateful for that. Then my other environment was obviously my custodian job. I started as a rover. I was hired to fill in when people weren't there and also to do the detail work. So it was really chaotic in the beginning. I was driving to all these different stations, a parking lot, there's a shopping center. It was pretty fun, but hectic, spontaneous. Never knew where I was working that day. And then once I got my full-time position at the Glenwood headquarters, it all kind of settled down. I had an 8-hour position where I was staying in a certain station one day. I was able to divide my tasks and just really get comfortable with that station instead of having to just be a good substitute teacher, so to speak, in someone else's role at their location, you know? So I just didn't want to mess up their setup and their barrel and how they kept their cleaning supplies, versus I finally had to have my own place where I could have my own cleaning supplies and run my station how I wanted. So I really enjoyed staying put, even though I did have fun running around, and it got me to get comfortable with a lot of the Eugene area and how to drive to certain locations, but I did love staying put. So those were kind of my work environment. Next up, what type of responsibilities did I enjoy at my previous job? I would definitely say I love to do detail work. Oh, and do cracks and crevices. I am a person who likes to clean under and not clean around, okay? So I would rather just keep the deep clean going and not... My dad raised me to do it right if you're gonna do it at all. Let me just say that. So that's the approach I do with cleaning. But specifically, I really loved having the freedom to choose what order I would like to get things done and like what worked for my brain. Like personally, when I had a huge station, I just went room by room, completed everything in that task, and then at the very end of the day would do my mopping, do my sweeping, do my floors. Okay, what did I dislike about my previous job? Absolutely nothing that I can complain about with my grassroots garden. Love that farming internship. Love the people there. Such a special community. At my custodian job, however, loved the work environment there. However, I did have a situation. I had to go through the HR process for the first time ever. My boss at that time was making inappropriate comments towards me and towards women in general, towards the trans and LGBT community. And he eventually threatened me and made me feel unsafe in my work environment. So I am very grateful to now know how the HR process works, and I'm so endlessly grateful for the supervisor above him and the woman who worked with me on that case, because they were just so supportive and understanding and just made me feel, they gave me so much help during that time, and I was so scared to do that. So endlessly thankful for them, and those are the soft skills that I believe are just so important in a workplace. To feel comfortable even to go to them about a situation like that meant the world to me. And the main experience, it really just taught me that I absolutely cannot tolerate bigotry in the workplace of any sort. That is a hard no for me. So that is what I disliked most about that job. Strengths and superpowers. So after completing my internship with Food for Lane County, we have to do an intern review, and it was a recorded conversation where I had to then type out the direct quotes that she said and send it back to her. So any future letters of recommendations, or if I use her as a reference, she can look back at this paper and remember who I am, no matter how long ago it was that I did my internship. And what she said in that 50-minute recording, I have never felt more seen as a person in my personal life, let alone in my professional life. So to have a supervisor speak about me in that way, it just melted my heart. So if it is okay, I am going to read some of the strengths and superpowers that she articulated from my internship, because she put some things into words about myself that I didn't have the language for, you know? And I'm just endlessly grateful for Mary Bradley at Food for Lane County. Okay, so I'm just gonna list off a few from that, and then I'll give you the direct quotes behind it that kind of back it up and where she was coming from. So just listing off the bolds. Strengths and superpowers. Kind and gracious. Compassionate makeup and orientation. Ability to perform, adapt, and adjust to the needs of the circumstance. I'm gonna read the direct quote on this one because I just love this one. She said, "Few people have that, and you could do it so gracefully on the fly. You were definitely water around rocks. Whatever needs to happen to get it done, it allowed me to put you in key roles others couldn't or wouldn't pull off." And that one warmed my heart. And I love the phrase water around rocks. She said, "I asked for clarification, realistic decision making, attention to detail, and follow through." I'm gonna read the direct quote on this one because this goes really far in cleaning as well. Is what I'm trying to articulate about the detail work that I like to do. She stated, "It's like when I taught you carrot thinning. We'd only gotten this far, we were working in the heat and other challenges, and then going back to finish the project, I would say, 'Would you please go do this?' and check in, and you'd say, 'Oh, it's already done.'" One of the words she gave me is flowy, which I had not heard before, but I've been needing a word to describe this sort of trait in a person. So she said, "You are what I perceive in myself as flowy. There's organization and structure, and then there's flowy. You have both." And that means the world to me. Enough of that, enough superpowers. Immediately into what is my biggest weakness. I am a perfectionist. I am an artist, of course. So to me, an art piece is never done. Same thing when it came to cleaning. It burns me a little bit to leave behind a dust trail or a crumb that I saw and have to walk away. Oh, I can't do it. I will not do it. Actually, I refuse to. What motivates me? Don't even know how to quite articulate this, but I wrote in my journal the other day that I have a thirst for life that I don't even begin to know how to quench. So I don't even know what that quite means, but it's a bit poetic. Okay. Goals. I was a person that really took a lot of time to figure out what my own definition of success is. And for me, I want to look back at my life and not have a single regret, and to get out of my comfort zone and experience as much as possible in this world, because there's so much to it. So I just want to put myself out there, and hopefully by the end of all this, I will have quite an adventure that I have gone on and can look back fondly. 5 years from now, I would say I am either doing graduate school abroad, or I am teaching English in Spain and finishing up getting fluent in Spanish. Okay, next up on the list, am I more of a leader or a team player? Okay, gut instinct tells me that I'm more of a team player, but recently, after my internship, it made me rethink what my definition of a leader even is, because Mary described it really well. I'm not trying to just keep quoting Mary, but she is just a brilliant woman, and she just puts things into, she articulates herself so well and articulates a certain like situation, circumstance so gracefully, and I'm just appalled by it. I'm so in awe. Oh my gosh. But she called me a leader, but doesn't step on toes. She phrased it as, often people who are strong leaders have to do it kind of systematically their way. It's hard for them to be leaders with other leaders. It's the too many cooks in the kitchen concept. But with me, she said, it was not an issue. She said, it's great that we have leaders in the world, we need them. But if a leader can't really be a collaborator, it's not as useful. I took those traits in me as not leadership, but the way that she just described it made me realize, I'm like, oh no, it's leading by example, actually, and that's the kind of leader I want to be. So how would I rate my organizational skills? Okay, immediately, I would say a 9, just because I am a maximalist, because of all the art, the fashion, the jewelry making, all of that, and having to organize all that, and knowing where a certain art tool is or a scrap of fabric that I need on the fly. It means I have to have like one big system that is made up of a whole bunch of small, little organizational skills and systems to make it all organized in the long run. I hope this makes sense. So if I mess up one of those small systems, it throws out a loop the whole hole. So I can't not. Moral of the story. And keeping it on theme, am I more of a neat freak or a slob? And if I had to rate myself and give an example. So I would immediately say I am an 8 on the neat freak scale, because yet again, I need to know where my stuff is, but at the end of the day, I will give myself the 2 points for being a slob, because Sunday is meant for a day of rest. And then 2, I don't know if you've ever seen a girl get ready before. The room after getting ready, I don't know if you guys have seen Great Gatsby, where like Leonardo DiCaprio is just throwing off all the shirts. That's kind of what it's like, you know? So I am not superhuman, and I am not gonna clean the room until I get back from whatever I just got ready for, because that is the next level of self-discipline that I just admire, but I am not there yet. And the people who do immediately clean their room after just having a mental breakdown picking out their outfit, pat yourself on the back, because you are superhuman, and that is a superpower. Okay, next up, rate your ability to live with others. Okay, this one, easy 10 out of 10. I have never lived alone, and I have shared a room with my sister for the first 18 years of my life. I moved out to college, and I shared a room with 2 strangers, and I lived in a sorority house full of 50 women, I believe at the time. That was the live-ins. I then lived with 2 girls in a dorm-style apartment, and then I lived my senior year in an apartment with 3 girls. So fond memories with all of them, honestly. We all had very different friendships throughout. None of the friendships were the same, but it was so awesome to get to know each of those people and meeting them where they're at. So awesome. So I will say the only difference is between sharing an actual room with someone versus having your own room in a communal living space. I really enjoyed having my own privacy and just place to escape because I do have a social battery. I love people, but I need to have a thought to myself every now and again. So just to have some sort of private getaway where I can step out and just be by myself is important for me. It doesn't need to be a bedroom, but as long as I just have a spot somewhere, that's all that matters for me. So yeah, next up, any problem with hats on the job? Absolutely not. Not afraid of no hat hair. At my farming internship, we constantly had a hat on just to protect ourselves from the sun and to avoid heat stroke. So not a problem with that. How is my mental health? Well, as a woman whose goal is to be happy in life, I will say, pretty dang successful so far. I don't have any diagnosis from a psychiatrist, or I don't have any prescriptions I take. I never have. Yeah, so pretty solid. I quite like myself. Pretty spunky character over here. So, last but not least, what gets on your nerves? I would say judgment and jumping to conclusions. I am the biggest advocate for challenging your internal bias. Humans, unfortunately, when we meet something new or we see something new, we are like, oh, that's weird, get it away from me, instead of just like, woo, dolphin diving, let me check that out, let me form my own opinion on it. Instead, we're like, oh, how is everyone else reacting to this? I don't want to do that. I want to challenge that internal bias, and most often, you will be so surprised when you do. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't pass judgment on other people. Only pass judgment on yourself. Yeah. So that was my interview. I hope I include a blooper reel because it was too funny. Too funny, this process. So, thank you guys so much for your consideration. It was even just a fun challenge to do this video of myself. So, still learn something at the end of the day. No matter what at this point of the process. So thank you guys so much. I can't wait to hear from you guys. I'm sorry that I didn't give you guys this video sooner, but thank you guys for your patience and your consideration. Okay. See you, Gingerhill. Cedar out.